But government should not be at the forefront. They should tie production and the supply to these people so that they can get the prices good. Now, Ghana has been exporting yam for years. They've been the highest exporters in the whole world. Now, I was made to know by one of my contacts in the UK that Ghana exports 100 pallets every month. Now, what the government just sent in was 72 pallets.
Nigerian
government. So the challenge is, will you be able to compete with price? There's loyalty in distribution. So all these things we need to, and export is consistency, not just taking one. So are we going to be having the same quality of yams, the same variety over 1 year? That's the question that needs to be answered, and not just we're pushing yams.
And that brings us to storage.
Storage, transportation. The variety to plant. You know, many people will think that, oh, it's big yam that will sell. Now, the yams that they export are not the big ones. They're the small and medium sizes. That's what you export, not the
fat big ones like
big size. Like consumption. When it comes to consumption around here, we eat the big ones. But when it comes to export, they do the small ones, because in every carton is between 8 to 12 pieces that should be there in a 22 kilo box. So, you know, the dynamics needs to be opened out before you talk about the opportunity.
Right now, you're telling us on the program this morning that I should go on the portal of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and see some of the things you're talking about there, isn't it?
Yes.
And information that should be on the street to the farmers, to anyone who wants to get in the value chain, where the opportunities are, where the challenges are, what you need to do before I start bringing all the big yams, load them on a truck, bring them to Lagos and say, here comes my yams. And they say, hold on, Bosun, sorry, you got to take that back to Kogi State where you come from, because it doesn't meet the standards for export.
Then, you know, there's also a conversation around removing the quarantine away from the ports.
Okay,
so
here we go.
If we're encouraging commercial export, now the quarantine, they are already short-staffed. Okay? So how do you remove quarantine? The conversation is still on. How do you remove quarantine from the ports, and yet yams has just been added to the products, you know,
for massive export?
For massive export.
So how will the quarantine assess the quality of these agri-products heading out of the country?
And quarantine's job starts from production. They inspect the field. So we need
the farm.
The farms.
And the local way of storing them.
Yes. So even the production, they check through the production. They work with you during the production, harvesting, storage. So from the farm, the quarantine ensures that what you're even taking away for export meets standard.
And that means we need the quarantine at every state government and local government that has the land for yam.
Yes.
And I think we have that across the country.
The yam
from north to everywhere.
Yes.
There's hardly any part of Nigeria where you don't grow yam. Perhaps in the extreme south, where there's so much waterlogged. So that means we need quarantine on the ground, and they are not that staffed.
Yeah, and we need extension agents. So, and you know, there's a big conversation around the extension, recruiting extension services. And so we've not taken care of that. So, and the farmers need quarantine. Quarantine can bridge the gap by embracing the extension services to be able to pass that information across. So there's a lot of capacity development across that chain before we even launch into the export. But the export is good. Now, the government spoke about UK and US. I'm doing a project across West Africa with Ashoka, and it's amazing to find out that in Senegal, people don't buy a tuber of yam because it's expensive. 3-4 people go to cut it. In Angola, across West Africa, there's a huge demand for Nigerian yams, and we're not getting it.
What makes Nigerian yam, like Nigerian crude oil, so tasty and appealing to the world?
Well, one, we have the numbers. The Nigerians outside, you know, when you're exporting old yam, it's sweeter. So it was premium to eat in Burkina Faso in May. It was premium to eat pounded yam. We could not get yam. You know, so the taste of Nigerian yam, just like Nigerian plantain, Nigerian plantain has the best taste in the world, proven. So the taste, we have so many things that is required abroad. We only need to put in the structure. Structure is crucial. The structure and the systems to support it. And we have no issues with recession or what have you, if there's a structure, and the structure can be achieved given the challenges we have with the private sector. The private sector, we need to have like quarterly engagements, just like President Obasanjo used to have. We need to have quarterly engagements with the private sector to say, come, we are supporting. We need to show that we are supporting by engaging them.
Do you think that the current Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, RD, is engaging you farmers at every level enough?
I don't think so. And this is why I say so. Because I know they're trying. They're doing their best, to engage. They're engaging the people. But you see, the conversation needs to move beyond lab to or classroom to field. We need to engage each other more because they have a lot to do. Under the previous administration, I mean the ministry, they moved with speed, but this administration needs to reduce that tempo to put in structures, which they have been doing. But they also need to engage some people to put in the voice required, the momentum required. So, yes, they're putting in systems, which is very crucial, fundamental, but also we need the advocacy. The advocacy is missing from what is being done now. The previous administration did a lot of advocacy, a lot of push, a lot of movement. But now we need more advocacy with the structures to show people the structure on ground. And you don't have to go to the website of the Ministry of Agriculture to be able to access this. We need the Ministry of Agriculture to be more proactive in making this information available.
Okay. You've given us a number of Nigerian agri-products that are very tasty and premium around the world. We talk about yam, we talk about plantain. Which are the third one now?
Even potatoes.
Okay, potatoes. So we're going to get you back in the days and weeks ahead to give us a more of these Nigerian products and why they're very important. If anyone is out there listening, you need to get on in the agriculture conversation. The value chain, that is the conversation today with African farmer Magaji, who is an agribusiness expert. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your time. One of these days, we've got to go to the farm together.
Yeah.
And then get out of here a little bit and get on with agriculture. Let's come back after the conversation and get into the biggest of Intra-Africa trade, and we'll get back to the manufacturing data. And it's the first business and trading day of the new month and the second half of the year. What a better way to get it all started with Business Morning. We'll be back in 2.